Remember the good old days when you would buy synthetic fertilizers? The front of the bag would have 3 numbers. Well, you'll usually see those same 3 numbers on bagged organic fertilizers, except the numbers are drastically lower. The 3 numbers represent nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. All are essential nutrients for grass. If the fertilizer claims to be organic and the numbers are well over 10, I would question it. Nitrogen is a very important nutrient when it comes to the lawn's health and keeping it green. Nitrate is the form of nitrogen that plants use. Chemical fertilizers deliver high concentrations of quick-release, water-soluble nitrogen in the form of nitrate, which is immediately available for the grass plant. As I stated before, the plant can only take in a little bit as it passes through the soil, and the rest becomes a pollutant. When you apply organic fertilizers, they add organic matter to the soil, which, as we all know by now, feed the microbes. The bacteria then break it down so it's available to the grass plant, hence feeding the lawn slowly, evenly, naturally. Having over 5% organic matter in the soil will generally suffice the amounts of nitrogen needed for healthy lawns. Not bagging your clippings when you mow gives you additional free organic nitrogen. Legumes such as white clover and vetch are considered nitrogen-fixing plants, where they actually take nitrogen out of the air and make it available to the soil. Worm castings will also provide this free fertilizer. Most grass plants do well with around 3 pounds of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet per year. It should only be applied at 1 pound per 1,000 square feet at a time. Organic fertilizers such as alfalfa, dry blood, fish hydrolysate, chicken manures, and of course compost are good nitrogen sources. Let's calculate the 1 pound of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet. For example, let's say we're using an organic fertilizer with the numbers 424. The numbers on the bag represent the percentage of that product in the bag. So the first number, which is nitrogen, is 4. So we want to divide 4 into 100, and that is 25. So you'll need 25 pounds of that particular fertilizer to get 1 pound of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet. Then get the square footage of your lawn area and divide that by 1,000, multiply the number of pounds of fertilizer needed per 1,000 square feet, and that will tell you how much you need for your entire lawn area. So say we have 5,000 square feet of lawn area. So 1,000 divided into 5,000, or 5 times the 25 pounds is 125 pounds. So you'll need 125 pounds of 424 fertilizer to get 1 pound of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet for that entire lawn area. Let's say we have a bag of 622. Divide 6 into 100, and that equals 16.6. So say 16 pounds of that fertilizer to achieve 1 pound of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet. Multiply that by 5, and so you'll need 80 pounds of 622 to cover 5,000 square foot lawn. To find the square footage of your yard, just figure out what your average step length is. Lay out a measuring tape 20 feet and walk it several times, keeping track of how many steps it takes to cover the 20 feet. Take the average, divide that into 20, and you'll know the average length of each step you take. Walk the perimeter lengthwise and then width, and then you multiply. Of course, this isn't absolutely accurate, but it will give you a rough idea of what your square footage for your yard is. Okay, let's get back to our nutrients. Phosphorus is also a very important nutrient required for good grass health. Phosphorus relies on a pH around neutral to be available. If your soil test comes back with an acceptable pH level, you really shouldn't have to apply any other forms of phosphorus. Compost and organic fertilizers will contain some. Bone meal and rock phosphate are organic forms of phosphorus if your levels are very low. Just simply not bagging your grass clippings will also supply you with the sufficient amounts. Phosphorus, like nitrogen, is dangerous to the water system and everything involved with it. Potassium is the last of our 3 numbers. Remember we mentioned potassium when we were going over our cations? Once again, organic matter, our humus, which is negatively charged along with a neutral pH, should have plenty of potassium. Potassium sulfate, green sand are acceptable organic sources of potassium if your soil test indicates very low levels, but compost and organic fertilizer should give you plenty without having to add anything else. Purchasing organic bags of fertilizer should be based on what your soil needs, according to your soil tests. For example, if your test says you already have an acceptable potassium level, there's no need to get a fertilizer that is 819. Shop around, find the product that best fits your situation and not just convenient to buy. If you're satisfied with your soil test results, or if they're just a little bit off, and you don't feel the need for organic fertilizers, then don't use them. During the transition phase of going from chemical to organic, I feel the need for them usually because the nutrient levels are so out of whack. Don't always put down the same product either. Like I said before, different microbes have different appetites. You can use livestock feed products like alfalfa, soybean, or cottonseed meals, but try to get a good mix with a variety of fertilizers such as chicken manures, fish byproducts, and other meals. An agricultural grain store should have a plenty supply with relatively inexpensive prices. Many people skip the compost route and just use organic fertilizers because it's just easier and more convenient. Like I said before, the more you give, the more you get. For best results, concentrate on using a top dressing with compost to supplement your soil's needs, and then fine-tune it with teas and organic fertilizers if needed until you're confident you've reached the maximum nutrient exchange and biology in the soil. If you have absolutely no compost available or no way you can top dress your lawn with it, then by all means, find a good quality organic fertilizer product that fits your needs. Apply it on the lawn and then follow up with a good compost tea on top. Compost teas are available online, but we'll get into that in a bit. With proper amounts of healthy organic matter in the soil, a strong microbial population will follow, and vice versa. The more dense the soil food web, the more fertile the soil. Microbes have different appetites though. Bacteria like organic matter that is not fully decomposed. Grass clippings are the perfect bacterial food. Leaving grass clippings on the lawn also supply your lawn with 1 pound of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet for that season. Fungi, on the other hand, like brown foods, for example, chopped up leaves. I can't stress enough the importance of leaving grass clippings on the lawn. If you cut the lawn when it's dry and only remove 1/3 of the blade, the clippings should be gone in no time without causing any problems at all. It feeds the bacteria, adds nitrogen and organic matter, all free. If I've got a problem convincing someone to leave the grass clippings down, you should see how they react when they ask them to mulch the leaves into the lawn. If you've got deciduous trees, use them. I don't mean wait until all the leaves are fallen, then try to mulch them in, obviously. Trees drop their leaves gradually for a while, and that's when they should be mulched. If you've got a mulching mower, good. If not, discharge the leaves out and then go over again the opposite way. Cut the lawn twice if you have to, but usually it's not even necessary. When you do get that heavy leaf drop, stop mowing in the middle of the yard and discharge the leaves outwards, pushing the leaves to the perimeter. I know it's easy for me to say using this big mower like this, but do your best with what you have. When you're done, cut the lawn again, going back and forth. Of course, the more you cut the lawn, the more you mulch. You'll see the mulch layer of leaves on the lawn, go back a few days later, and then you don't. You'll be feeding the fungi, adding organic matter and other important nutrients. Not only is it less work not having to bag the grass clippings all the time or raking the lawn several times, but they're free, natural imports that nature is giving you, much more beneficial than anything you can purchase in a bag.